I would like people to not freak out and run away from me, because then that helps me and hopefully other people who look different.
Every year, many of us spend a lot of money trying to make our skin look perfect. Some use things like lotions and makeup, and even get treatments like Botox. But some people have bigger skin problems, from scaly and stone-like skin to strange skin discolorations and unwanted growth. Here are our top 15 picks of the most unusual people with bizarre skin conditions. Number 15. Jesus Chuy Aceves.
One Mexican family, so essentially they're sort of the hairiest family in human history.
As humans, we're familiar with a hairline that stretches from the back of the neck to the forehead with sparse hairs dotting the rest of the skin. That's not the case for Jesus Chuy Aceves, a Mexican man with thick black hair covering the whole of his face and other parts of his body. That's because he has a disorder known as hypertrichosis, a skin condition he shares with some members of his family, also known as the werewolf syndrome. Aceves' sister, nephew, cousins, and 2 daughters were also born with the condition, leading some of them to believe they're descendants of Julia Pastrana, the monkey girl.
For the men, some of them are even considered virile and tend to have a lot of girlfriends. But for the women, it's very hard. Most of them live with their children and have been abandoned by...
Growing up in the Laredo town of Zacatecas in Mexico, Aceves had a hard time fitting it and would often walk around burying his face in his palms to avoid the stares. The bullying and mockery he experienced in school meant he dropped out early, after which he turned to alcohol and circus life at the age of 13. Aceves has appeared in various performances, interviews, films, and documentaries that draw attention to his condition. However, his experience is still not much different as he continues to draw unwanted attention from strangers who gawk at him, call him names, cross themselves as they walk by, or bring out their phones to take pictures. While Aceves has had the condition from birth, scientists say it can also be acquired later in life as a result of certain medical conditions or the consumption of some chemicals. Number 14. Savannah Fulkerson.
Some days she would just cry for hours and hours on end.
And it just felt like lava was being poured on me, like it burned from the inside out.
We've all seen movies where someone cannot walk in the sun, but that's everyday life for Savannah Fulkerson, a young girl suffering from erythropoietic protoporphyria, EPP, also known as the vampire disease. Somehow, Savannah's mother always suspected she was inconvenient under the sun. When some strange blisters and sores appeared on her hands at age 4, doctors dismissed it as eczema, but her parents knew it was something more because Savannah complained of a burning feeling whenever she was exposed to the sun.
Rainy.
And when she does venture out into daylight, it's an effort, putting on this UV protective clothing.
According to her mother, Andrea, Savannah would suddenly start screaming, but doctors never expected anyone to be allergic to the sun. When she turned 9, they took her for a checkup at the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, and she was diagnosed with the rare disorder also called EPP. However, EPP is not a sun allergy. Savannah has an enzyme deficiency that causes abnormal production of a chemical called protoporphyrin. This chemical builds up in the skin and reacts toxically to light. Sadly, there's no cure for the disorder, which means Savannah has to spend most of her days indoors. When she wants to go out, she does so in long-sleeve clothes, gloves, and a hat to cover the whole of her body. Despite her condition, Savannah tries to live her life normally and advises other people with her condition to do the same. Live your life and don't worry what anyone says about you. Live each day to the fullest, she said. Number 13. Ashlyn Blocker.
I'm just going to poke one of your fingers and you tell me which finger you feel it on, okay?
From one person who feels pain under the sun to another who doesn't feel any pain at all, this is the story of Ashlyn Blocker, a young girl with a rare genetic disease that prevents her from feeling any pain. We all hate to feel pain, but the reality is it has benefits, which Ashlyn sadly cannot enjoy. Ashlyn's condition is a congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis, popularly called CIPA. It affects how signals travel from the central nervous system to the brain. The condition had been present since birth, which meant that Ashlyn never cried. even when she was hungry or inconvenienced by a dirty diaper.
No one, not even experts, know how many people it affects. It's known as CIPA, the inability to feel any physical pain. And that 12-year-old girl is using her diagnosis to make a difference.
While neighbors loved the baby who was never sad, the parents suspected that something was wrong. Their fears rose to the roof when Ashlyn turned 8 months old and didn't cry when her eye irritation was being treated. Diagnosis revealed that she had CIPA, a condition found in around 100 people worldwide. Ashlyn requires constant attention from those around her. That's because she doesn't feel it when she's injured, whether it's a tiny cut or a burn. Hence, her parents are required to check her every time to prevent something serious from happening to her. She has helped scientists from the University of Florida since 2004, and recently, they discovered a gene responsible, which may help to fast-track treatment discovery. Number 12. Paul Carrison.
A friend that hadn't seen me in a while came by and asked me what I'd done to myself.
We compared our arms. Paul's used to be fairer than mine. Now it's a dull gray blue.
Many people associate blue-skinned individuals with sci-fi and superhero movies, but that's because they've not heard of Paul Carrison. Born on the 14th of November 1950, Carrison grew up as a fair-skinned man with freckles. However, in the 1990s, his skin turned blue when he started drinking a solution that contained colloidal silver. Carrison began drinking the homemade solution as a treatment for sinuses, dermatitis, acid reflux, and other issues. He began seeing improvements and decided he would also rub the solution on his skin. This made him develop argyria, a condition that arises from prolonged exposure to chemical compounds, especially silver.
Oftentimes, some of the people were less than polite.
But despite everything, Paul says he has no regrets about using his silver remedy.
Argyria causes the areas of the skin that are exposed to the sun to turn blue. Carrison appeared on Today, an American television show, in 2008 to draw attention to his condition. He also added that he still prepared the solution at home for consumption. Sadly, life became tough for Carrison since people did not want to associate with him because of his condition, even after he moved from Oregon to California in 2007. Things became even tougher when he started battling prostate cancer and a heart condition. He lost his wife and home around this time, causing him to move to a homeless shelter in his hometown. Carrison moved out of the shelter with the help of a new partner, but died in 2013 due to a heart attack that led to a severe stroke. Number 11. Stan Jones.
I wish to thank the sponsors for inviting me. I don't often get invited.
Another person who suffered from argyria and had blue skin is American Libertarian Party politician Stan Jones. Like Paul Carrison, Jones also developed argyria by consuming an excessive amount of colloidal silver, but he had slightly different motivations. He believed the Y2K problem would make antibiotics unavailable and started consuming colloidal silver as an alternative. Born January 13, 1943, Jones is not the only big name to have endorsed the consumption of colloidal silver. His beliefs about the solution are also shared by actress Gwyneth Paltrow, as well as Alex Jones, a colloidal silver salesman and InfoWars conspiracy theorist.
Because they don't like the Homeland Security
Department. Homeland kind of is sort of like synonymous with like communist with me. I don't know. I hear Homeland.
In 2002, Jones contested for the United States Senate, but his attempt was unsuccessful. He did the same in 2006, again without success. Jones had also run for the office of the governor of Montana under the banner of the Libertarian Party. He did so in the years 2000, 2004, and 2008. As expected, his blue skin dominated headlines, but was not enough to sway the votes towards him. He currently works as a business consultant and has mentioned he didn't regret taking the solution. He added he would do the same if the opportunity presented itself again. Meanwhile, the National Institutes of Health have said evidence supporting health-related claims of colloidal silver is lacking. Number 10. Jaza Gary.
I began modeling summer of 2019. I was doing it a little bit in high school, but never seriously.
Reptiles would shed their skins as they grew older. The phenomenon allows them to grow in size, gain weight, and maintain healthy skin. One human who can do the same is Jayza Gary, and that's because she's suffering from a rare skin condition known as lamellar ichthyosis. It means that she sheds her skin every 10 to 12 days like a snake or lizard. From birth, Jayza was born with a shiny collodion membrane that peeled off after some weeks. The shedding has continued since then, necessitating special treatment. Her skin needs to be moisturized regularly to prevent cracking and bleeding. She also needs to stay away from strenuous activities to avoid heating up.
If my skin wasn't moisturized, I would crack apart and it would bleed and it would just be very painful.
Growing up was supposed to be tough, but her mother did not allow it. Jayza recalls how her mother would admonish those who stared, telling them that the polite thing to do is to ask questions. She would also go to Jayza's school at the beginning of every year to explain her condition to the other students. In 2017, while studying to obtain a bachelor's degree in special education, Jayza decided she'd be the first model with her skin condition and has not looked back ever since. She's currently signed to a modeling agency and has been featured in Vogue Italia, New York Fashion Week, and Target fashion events. Number 9. Chali Maguire.
A moderate case, but I was told at a very early age that it would be a miracle if I would live to be 30 years old.
On November 18, 2017, Chali and Tony got married, but the ceremony was not your regular wedding. It was both a special display of true love that attracted the envy of many and a medical abnormality that defied the projections of doctors. Chali, who was 30 years old at the time, looked nothing like her age. Instead, she looked like a 60-year-old because she had a skin disorder known as progeria. Progeria is a rare genetic disorder that makes those affected look older than they are. They age prematurely and grow slowly, with a short stature, hair loss, and a small face. Most people suffering from this disorder never make it past their teenage years. So, for Chali to get past 3 decades, she's one of the oldest survivors with progeria.
There is going to be a point where my life will be shortened.
Born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chali's condition was first noticed when she fell off her bicycle as a 2-year-old. Her diagnosis wasn't easy, and they waited 14 years before doctors finally arrived at a conclusive pronouncement. That might be because her condition isn't one of the most serious forms, but she still looks visibly older than her peers. According to Chali, middle school years were rough ones as she got teased, but she admitted things got better as she aged. Chali has also vowed to live her life to the fullest and help others with the same condition. Number 8. Sarah Gertz.
Sarah Gertz's skin is covered in wrinkles. Her neck, arms, back, and stomach.
Anyone that's ever touched her has said that it's basically...
Sarah Gertz is another person with a condition that makes her look older, but she doesn't suffer from progeria. At 10 years old, Gertz was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, an uncommon genetic condition that slows down the production of collagen. Collagen is a fibrous protein produced in connective tissues like bones, cartilage, and tendons that gives the skin its strength and elasticity. The production is slowed down in old age, which is why they have weaker bones with skins that look broken and stretched out. With Gertz affected by Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, her skin appears wrinkled even though she's still young.
I think the patterns of the way my skin forms.
Now, she's hoping the modeling world will find her wrinkles attractive too.
She also suffers from severe joint pains and weak bones. Gertz, who decided to be a model at an early age, almost saw her dreams crushed. She felt insecure and hid herself all through high school. A failed relationship during her early 20s also added to her troubles. However, Gertz eventually realized that living a lie was not helpful. She's grown in confidence, accepted herself, and is spreading the joy to bring awareness to the condition to empower others with the disorder. Gertz took up modeling and photography. She has an excellent social media following and has been featured in a short film. Number 7. Zhang Ruifang. In 2010, a Chinese great-grandmother, Zhang Ruifang, aged 101 from Henan province, made headlines when she showed the world the 2.36 inches long horn growing on her forehead. Shaped like a goat's horn, the outgrowth was determined to be a cutaneous horn made up of keratin, the same substance our fingernails are composed of. The other side of her forehead had a black spot that looked like another horn was preparing to come out. While many would be alarmed at a development like this, Zhang was rather thrilled and turned down any advance to help her remove the horn. Even when people close to her called her devil's horn for fun, she seemed to enjoy jokes and the attention her horn brought her. Zhang was reported to have said she wanted a second horn on the other side. Meanwhile, Zhang's relatives, including her sons, remained worried as the horn appeared and began to grow. Amazingly, other aged individuals have presented similar cases with horns growing on the forehead, but research says most cases are harmless. Some doctors also floated the idea of the horn being cancerous, leading them to warn against its removal. Number 6. Diwakar Bisoye. Diwakar Bisoye, a 65-year-old man from India, has been nicknamed the Bubble Man for his rare skin condition that has left his entire body covered in thousands of tumors. One of the swellings on his leg is as heavy as 4 stones, making his walking a challenge. Doctors believe Diwakar is suffering from multiple neurofibromatosis. According to a professor at the Kerala-based Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, Dr. Subramania Iyer, Diwakar is suffering from a genetic disorder caused by abnormalities in his nervous system, and his tumors are extending from nerves traveling all over his body. Doctors have not been able to manufacture a cure for the condition, but they believe removing the more prominent tumors could help the individual live more comfortably. However, in Diwakar's case, the sheer number of tumors means he'll have to go for multiple procedures to have the swelling removed in stages. The former farmer says life is tough for him, and many of his neighbors do not treat him nicely. He has lost his job and has not been able to find a new one. No one wants him living near them or on their property. He said the strange lumps showed up about 15 years ago and spread everywhere within months. Number 5. Diane and Ernie.
My name is Diane. I am 63 years old. I have bumps on my skin, thousands of them.
Unlike Diwakar, who is still in search of a lifeline, 2 other people, Diane and Ernie, siblings with neurofibromatosis, have been handed an opportunity that could see them bid goodbye to the tumors that have robbed them of a normal life since childhood. Featuring on a 2018 episode of Dr. Pimple Popper, a show that airs every Wednesday night on TLC, Diane and Ernie interacted on how their skins had been covered with tumors as a result of neurofibromatosis.
The condition's similar to mine, but his is a little worse. At times, I have a hard time looking at Ernie because it reminds me of me. I never talked about it with
Neurofibromatosis 1, the type suffered by Ernie and Diane, appears in childhood and presents symptoms like birthmarks, freckles, a large head, bone deformity, and short stature. In rare cases, those suffering from this type could also have ADHD and learning disabilities. Diane explained that they got the disorder from their dad. She also added that her case was mild during childhood, but the tumors started appearing in her early 20s. This skin condition has really robbed me of my self-esteem because I am so tired of people looking at me strangely, she said. The condition has no cure, but Dr. Sandra Lee, the dermatologist on the show, was able to help Diane by removing some of the visible growths on her face and stomach. Number 4. Abul Bajandar. Abul Bajandar, popularly known as Tree Man, is a Bangladeshi man suffering from an extremely rare genetic disease called epidermodysplasia verruciformis, or Tree Man syndrome. The 34-year-old made it to the news a few years ago when it was revealed that he needed help to eliminate the lesions that took over his hands and feet. Epidermodysplasia verruciformis is a condition caused by an immune system defect that increases the individual's susceptibility to human papillomavirus. The disease leads to a chronic infection that manifests in the form of skin lesions and an enhanced risk of melanoma skin cancer. For Bajendar, the lesions on his hands and feet are so developed that they resemble tree branches.
An illness. The disorder creates warts on the patient's body that resemble tree bark. Abul Bajendar is being treated by a team of doctors to remove and hopefully cure the disease.
With help from the government, he underwent 25 complicated surgeries between 2016 and 2018, and his condition improved significantly. He was able to hold his child and do some things himself. However, he decided to stop the treatment at a critical juncture, and this has worsened his condition. When he went back to the hospital in 2019, doctors feared that he may have come back too late, considering the growth of the lesions and the spread to other parts of his body. They estimated that he would need 5 or 6 more surgeries to remove the growth. Bajendar started noticing the lesions when he was 10 and had to stop working as a rickshaw driver when the lesions grew. Number 3. Rajeshwari.
Despite there being no cure for ichthyosis, luckily there are treatment options which might help ease some of her symptoms.
A 12-year-old girl, Rajeshwari, is suffering from an incurable condition that's turning her skin to stone. The sickness is known as ichthyosis and has covered the girl's arms, stomach, back, and legs, making it difficult to walk, sit, or perform any other activity. According to Dr. Yash Upender, a dermatologist from Dantewada Hospital, Rajeshwari is suffering from epidermolytic ichthyosis. While it's not life-threatening, the condition has no cure, meaning the patient may have to experience the symptoms for the rest of their lives. But certain creams and proper management may help lessen the pain. Some also say taking vitamin A tablets could improve the skin without helping the inflammation.
हम लोग चाहते हैं कि सामान्य जैसे वैसे जैसे किसी बीमार को भी डर नहीं जाना है कोई भी डॉक्टर देख नहीं पाए.
The condition prevents those affected from sweating, which leads to overheating. They are more susceptible to infections due to the cracks in their skin, and it may affect their sight or hearing if the scales accumulate around the eyes and ears. Rajeshwari's case is particularly serious because there are no healthcare centers around her, and traveling long distances is tedious. Thankfully, her case is not the first of its kind in India, which could assist with her treatment. Number 2. Dean Clifford. Dean Clifford is a 45-year-old man suffering from a painful skin disorder, epidermolysis bullosa. He is one of the oldest living survivors of this condition, as most never make it past a few years. His condition was diagnosed when he was only 18 months old, and at the age of 10, doctors said he could never walk again. However, Dean has gone on to shove aside every single limitation that the doctors gave him, and he's living his life to the fullest. Epidermolysis bullosa is a condition where the individual's skin has no binding elements holding them together. The layers of the skin are so thin and fragile that the slightest brush could cause excruciating pain and wound. This means simple actions like walking come with great pain for the affected people.
Lifted my body weight on the bench press and we just sat back in amazement. I'm lucky to be able to mentally control.
According to Dean, he has many wounds that heal after some time, only to break down almost immediately again. He also revealed that some wounds have been with him throughout his life. With the condition not having a cure, Dean never goes a minute without pain, but has been able to train himself over the years to think past it so he does not feel it as much. Despite his condition, Dean has been able to achieve remarkable feats. He currently works as a motivational speaker and is also one of the strongest powerlifters in his weight class. Number 1. Winnie Harlow.
Embracing the condition that has given her perhaps the most distinctive look in the modeling industry.
Chantel Whitney Brown Young, known worldwide as Winnie Harlow, is an award-winning Canadian fashion model who gained popularity as a contestant on the 2014 edition of America's Next Top Model. Born July 27, 1994, Harlow became the first model with vitiligo to be featured in various fashion events, including the Victoria's Secret fashion show in 2018. Vitiligo is a chronic skin condition that causes a lack of pigmentation in certain areas of the skin. She was diagnosed with the condition at an early age and had to go through a tough childhood, changing schools regularly due to constant bullying and disparaging remarks about her skin.
It was a hope for me to be on the show, but I never really thought it was going to happen. I've looked at trying to get on the show many times before, and of course you have to be an American citizen to be on the show.
After her elimination from America's Next Top Model, she has modeled for several brands, including Desigual, Ashish, Diesel, and many more. Harlow has been featured in magazines and websites like Vogue Italia and Ebony. She has also appeared in adverts for the likes of Sprite, Fendi, Nike, Puma, and Tommy Hilfiger, amongst others. She is usually seen speaking about her skin online and at events. Harlow is a prominent example of how a skin condition should never limit a person's achievements in life, making her our #1 on the list. And that's where we wrap up our list of the most unusual people with rare skin conditions. We hope you've learned about them and will join in spreading awareness for those affected. If you've enjoyed this video, it's time to check the other awesome videos on our channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.